Oh, come on. I mean, oh my God. What the fuck is that? I'm in Mexico, home of tacos, tlaqueneras, and of course, tequila. Mexico is an ancient place, yet so alive. It's a place where flavor meets fire and ritual meets rebellion. But food and drink here is not just consumed, it's a way of life. In this episode, I'm going to be learning about Mexico's ancient techniques and traditions and how they're preserving and protecting their historic cultural and culinary practices, whilst also looking to the future, embracing modernity and sustainability, whilst also showcasing this knowledge on a global stage. From incredible producers like Teremana tequila to world-leading educators and farmers we're going to meet along the way, I can't wait to get started. I've just touched down in Guadalajara, known for being Mexico's cultural heartbeat, the place where mariachi music was born and where tequila flows from the nearby agave fields. It's also a place where the traditional charm marries with a modern, vibrant energy. We're heading to El Gallo Altanero, a true shrine to Mexico's agave culture and regarded as one of the best bars in the world. However, whilst the party continues upstairs, I'm heading down to the cellar to learn more about the wide world of agave drinks from the owner, Freddy Andreasson. So you obviously have lots of different spaces within the bar, but what was the real kind of concept?
The idea was to champion independent spirits. So we don't carry any big brands upstairs, and also like work with the seasons. So our menu changed every single week, which is a job that I don't recommend to anyone. But the idea was to reflect the season in the city.
So when people come through, they can have lots of different experiences, but what is it that you think that people should walk away knowing?
They should definitely learn something. I'd hope that every single person that comes here at one point in the night learns something new. But I want to feel like your uncle's backyard party.
Yeah.
That you might stay for a little bit too long. You might get a little bit too drunk, but you're having an amazing time. So, Raicilla.
Yeah.
This is Raicilla from the Sierras outside of Mascota.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Agave drinks are a very broad category. The agave plant itself has hundreds of different species and varieties. They have different flavors, they have different expressions of minerality. Where they're grown makes a massive difference. Now, the most famous of these is tequila, or nowadays maybe mezcal. But you can also explore things like a bacanora, a raicilla, a sotol, pulque. So there's so much to explore within the category. Also, tell us about like the drinking out of these vessels rather than...
Oh, the jicara. So
Yeah.
the jicara is a fruit called cuastecomate, which is like extreme level Spanish. Cuastecomate.
Yeah, I'm not going to try.
Yep, no.
I suppose the openness of the cup is a big advantage for trying something like this.
Absolutely. I mean, it's the opposite of whiskey. Everything's opposite from whiskey from this, you know.
Yeah.
It stays time in the earth, not in a barrel. But also how you drink it. You don't want a type of a sniffer that's closed in because it would be too intense. We kind of need this one to breathe a little bit, you know, because it is a bit wild and untamed. It's definitely ruled by nature. It's a product of terroir more than anything I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
You know?
And is this the way that people in Mexico, or how you recommend people trying to engage with these spirits?
Absolutely, straight.
Yeah.
I mean, if it has a name on it, great. If you know who produces it, amazing. That's the difference between agave spirits and a lot of other stuff. You know, there's a real person, there's a family there.
Yeah.
There's daughters, there's sons, there's grandfathers, there's, only one cup.
Is there something else that you think we should really try?
I do have something very special for you. There it is. So this, we can see here, says, Freddy, don't drink. Because at this point I've only have a bottle of it and the guy doesn't distill anymore, he stopped producing, wow. So this is the last.
This is a real both sense of place and snapshot of time then.
Yeah, so this is the last of there will ever be. You will probably never find it again.
I'm incredibly honored. That's very sweet to be able to share.
I'm happy to share with you today.
Oh, salud.
Salud.
I mean, oh my God. That is so wild.
Wild.
I mean, it's so tropical.
Yeah. Let's get on.
And then like super mineral on the end. What the fuck is that? So beyond what I was expecting.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing this. This is,
of course.
I mean, this is probably the most special coffee spirit I've ever tried. That is incredible.
There's something romantic about having something you know you'll never have again.
Yeah.
Because your appreciation of it is very different.
For sure.
You know?
Yeah. Cheers to you, brother.
Cheers.
Really
Cheers,
appreciate
man.
that. Thank you.
You guys should try some of this.
You absolutely should.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Holy shit.
We're cutting that. Camera cut there, sound cut there.
All good?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
After that outstanding introduction to agave drinks, it's time to get my head down, as tomorrow I'm going to delve deeper into one of Mexico's best-known agave spirits. Tequila isn't just a party shot or the base for a margarita. In Mexico, it's heritage in a bottle. Born from the blue Weber agave plant and deep-rooted in the red volcanic soils of Jalisco and just 4 other states, it's as tightly protected as Scotch or cognac, but as distinctly Mexican as mariachis or mole. So I'm heading to the highlands of Jalisco to learn more about this precious liquid. I'm heading to visit the lovely team at Teremana.
Bienvenido.
So good to see you, Alex.
Good to see you too.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
So tell us about where we are.
So we are here at Teremana Distillery, and everything started in 2018 when Dwayne Johnson had a vision.
Yeah.
So he partnered with a multi-generational agave farmers and expert of tequila producers in La Familia Lopez.
Amazing.
And this is where the magic starts, no? It's about the history, it's about the people, the work, the traditions that come together to create a beautiful tequila.
Tell me about that, kind of what the meaning is behind the name.
Yeah, it's a beautiful meaning.
Yeah.
Teremana is divided in 2 words.
Yeah.
Tere, which represents the highlands of Jalisco.
Yes.
And mana is the spirit that we're feeling right here.
Yeah.
It's about doing the things the right way, and it's building a community, because Dwayne Johnson wanted to have a tequila that become accessible for everyone.
Yeah.
So Teremana is about bringing people together.
I love that. The philosophy very close to my heart as well, because, you know, the idea of the expertise from the land, the respect for where things come from, but trying to do good with it, right?
Yes.
Like, it's so exciting. And,
It is.
you know, where should we start?
So I want to take you that we call the ABC.
Okay.
So we want to start on the agave field.
Yes.
And then after that, we're going to the brick ovens, where you're going to see how everything is cooked in a very traditional way.
Yeah.
And then we want to finalize with 100% copper steel, what is not common in the tequila industry.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so are you ready?
Sounds wonderful.
Pues vámonos.
As with all great spirits, it starts with great ingredients first. So we're heading to where it all begins. And the surroundings, simply stunning. Ala's so peaceful in these fields. Like,
Seriously.
it's beautiful. But tell us a bit about where we are and, you know, these incredible
So we
plants.
are in the highlands of Jalisco. We
Yeah.
are about 7,000 feet above the sea level.
Oh, wow.
And as you notice it right here, the soil is completely different from the valley.
Okay.
And here, because we have a red clay volcanic soil, the agaves that tends to be a little bigger. Also, they have like a different flavors and aromas.
Yeah, and the colors coming off them is stunning, and this is a really important part. Like, the clue's in the name, right? These are the only agaves you can use for making tequila.
It's about 200 different kind of species of agaves that they grow globally.
Right.
But to make it tequila, we need to use the blue Weber agave.
Yeah.
You see the colors? And it's like kind of bluish. And this is the perfect agave that takes about 5 to 8 years to mature.
Okay.
And it gives you all different flavors and aromas that you needed to create a tequila. And this is, for me, knowing that tequila is coming from a plant, it makes it very special. What it makes it more special, that we've been doing this for generations and generations.
Absolutely. Once the agave plants are ripe, it's the job of the Jimadores to harvest them. An incredibly difficult job, especially under the Mexican sun. Jose, it's not only the physicality of shaving the piñas, it's knowing when they're right to harvest as well. How many do you end up harvesting in a day?
Por día, tejimos como unos 300 o 500.
It's incredible. How did you learn about this as a craft?
Mi familia, por 3 generaciones, ha hecho esto. Entonces ellos nos enseñaron qué es lo que hay que mirar en un agave para seleccionar los mejores agaves y poder hacer muy buen tequila.
And this is your main tool, the koa. This and the mallet, this is all you have, right?
Sí, nada más.
For me? Okay. Oh my God, this is so difficult. I think the fact that, like, you saw how much it kind of, you know, sliced through, whereas I'm getting it stuck at every single go. I mean, this thing's incredibly sharp. No, I'm not making good process on this, but it is fun. But this is real hard work. I mean, it's hot, it's sunny, the cover is heavy, but the more it's carefully trimmed, the more, you know, it removes some of that bitterness. It keeps it to the kind of heart of the piña, where you're getting that kind of excellence and that concentration of all those flavors. So, you know, this is something that, you know, goes back generations, but is something that is just a wonderful demonstration of craft, knowledge, expertise, and care to be able to start everything in the tequila process from here in the field. Once the piñas have been harvested, they're transported back to the distillery, where they're unloaded, cut down, and placed into brick ovens to roast.
After cooking for 72 hours, cooking and cooling.
Oh, wow. That is so cool. It smells so good.
Yes.
So obviously you've carefully kind of like roasted these to be able to kind of convert those starches and sugars.
Yes.
Once you press them, what happens to the rest of the kind of material? Because there's a lot of fiber as part of the piñas as well.
Yeah, so we call it bagazo.
Okay.
That bagazo, we send it to a machine. It calls biomass boiler.
Yeah.
It burns everything and creates biofuel.
Got you.
And it gives us 100% of the steam to cook the agave in the brick ovens and to the distillations. So we use...
Oh, covers both?
Yes. And we use 0 oils. And it's about all those little details that makes a big difference in this planet.
100%, yes.
Do you want to taste it?
Can I taste it?
Yes, yes.
And you just bite into it?
Just bite it and absorb it.
Oh my God. It's so like butterscotch and bright, but there's so much like floral fruitiness. Like, this is so great.
Yes.
It's now time to visit the third stop in the ABCs of Teremana, the Copper Stills, a really unique choice within tequila production.
This is seriously the cherry on the top.
Yeah.
We use something very unique. It's 100% copper. It's handmade and it's hand hammered. Have you seen all these?
Beautiful, yeah.
Yes, yes. And inside, we have our own design. It's a secret recipe.
Sure.
Yes. But why this is so important? Why copper? Because you can better control the temperature.
Yes.
So this is what we try to achieve here.
Yeah.
We cook for 36 hours at 72 degrees, which actually is very slow.
Slow distillation, yeah.
And what it does, the copper also removes those impurities that sometimes the stain still cannot. So this is something very unique.
Yeah. I'm coming to the end of my visit, which means it's one of my favorite parts of the day, where I get to taste the wonderful product. The Blanco, Reposado, and Añejo tequilas that Teremana produce. So with a Blanco, they can actually be aged a touch. They can be aged for up to 2 months, and this can be in stainless steel or in wood. And the key here is not to be able to kind of add in some of those kind of mature spirit notes.
So we want to start with the Blanco.
Perfect.
The Blanco is the naked expression of the tequila.
It is the kind of minerality of being in the field. It's the kind of roasted notes from the brick ovens, but it's pure agave. This is where you get the true expression of the agave and the choice of the distiller.
So the next one is called Reposado, which it translates to rested tequila.
Yeah.
To call it Reposado, it has to age at least 2 months. But in this case, we age for 3 months.
Okay.
In a used American oak barrel, which is only 200 liters to make sure that the entire liquid, it touched the barrel.
But a great Reposado really still kind of stays true to the accent and the note of the agave. And this has this wonderful transformation where you get this golden kind of agave note starting to come through. A little touch of butterscotch, a little bit of that extra wood sweetness coming through. Oh, come on, it's so good. And then finally you have Añejo. And this could be anything from a year to up to 3 years in aging.
This is inviting me to be in my home, like having like I don't have a fireplace, but I would love to have one with this.
Yeah. The care is about balancing the influence of the wood because the maturation happens much more rapidly in the heat in Mexico. You don't want to layer in too much of these heavy wood notes. I think what's really exciting here is the wood has transformed the spirit. It's taking it in a new direction, but it's not just layering wood flavors over the top. And I think that's what makes this really elegant and appealing.
part of the tradition that we have is about sharing the mana. So in a way to do that, I would love to share the mana with you with this Reposado.
Thank
for
you
you
very
to
much.
take it and to share it with your loved ones.
At the end of the show, I'm going to be creating a cocktail inspired by all the things I've seen and learned across my travels in Mexico. Alan has kindly gifted me a bottle of Teremana Reposado, which is going to be the perfect base for my cocktail. Having tasted some amazing tequilas with my friends at Teremana, I'm excited to test my taste buds in a slightly different way by trying some local foods. So I've enlisted the help of my friend Alejandra, and we're going to check out a place where Gallo Altanero sourced some of the amazing ingredients for their menus.
How are you?
Very excited to be able to tour and get some delicious things.
Great. This smells a little bit disgusting, but it's very tasty. This is nanche.
It does smell a bit weird. It's got a bit of a stank to it. Oh, it's really good though. Oh, it's delicious. So what do you call this?
Nanche.
It is a bit cheesy. That's probably the best way of describing it, yeah.
Something you definitely have to try. These ones is plátano manzano.
Oh, like apple?
Yes.
Oh, cool.
So it's between green apple
Oh, I love this.
and banana.
Oh my God, this is so good. And it's green like it's sharp like an apple. So we tend to get one variety of banana and it's one type of profile of flavor. You don't get the variance of texture, size. You come to beautiful places like Mexico where the produce is incredible and you get to try things like this where it is a banana, but it doesn't taste like any other banana you're gonna taste.
And I'm gonna open a mamey for you because I hear you like mamey.
I think this is one of the most exciting fruits in the world. It looks like a dinosaur's egg. It's creamy, but it's floral, it's tropical. I mean, it tastes like ice cream.
Mamey ice cream is the best.
It's got to be one of the best fruits in the world.
Yes.
Unbelievable.
The dinosaur egg.
Dinosaur egg. El Mercado San Juan de Dios is the biggest indoor market in Latin America. Oh my God, this is so cool. And it sells everything from food to electronics. It has kind of a bit of everything then.
Everything.
And the most popular drink across Mexico,
Perdón.
Agua Frescas.
Aguas frescas, ¿de qué tiene? Va. Dame de fresa con kiwi.
As a style of drink, they are, essentially like a fruit water, right? They're refreshing. They're designed to be something that cools you down. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
And they have it everywhere, like in every corner.
Okay.
So you're growing up with that.
Amazing.
When you go to the school and like in the markets, like everywhere.
So these will just be sorry. I also learned this is yes, right? Yes, excellent. And if you want to share something, it's this, right?
We'll show you that.
Oh, see, I'm getting down with the local lingo. Okay, so you order a Agua Fresca, and that would be your kind of cooling drink, right?
Yes.
And as you say, it's non-alcoholic.
Everything can be agua fresca.
Okay.
Listo.
Gracias.
Not small.
Oh, no,
is
ice
to
cold.
share.
Yeah.
As we've learned from Alejandra, one of the most popular drinks and one of the most versatile across Mexico is an Agua Fresca. And the beautiful thing about these soft drinks is they are endlessly variable. You can add in different seasonal fruits, you can use dried herbs, and you can just bring in those accents that you love. So I've taken some of my favorites, but taken a slightly different direction. One of the really popular ones across the country is hibiscus tea or Jamaica. And we've simply brewed it as a tea. We steep it in some hot water, leave it to infuse in the fridge overnight. So we have a good long infusion, and then we've simply blended that with some seasonal fruits. And one of my favorites is guava. It has this incredibly tropical, intoxicating kind of aroma to it. And to balance that, I'm gonna use a touch of tomato. Also a fruit, but it also brings a little sweet vegetable note. Now this is sweetened a little touch, but we've also added a pinch of salt. But then we've simply blended up our mix. So the hibiscus tea, touch of sugar, and then into that, we've blended in some of our tomatoes and the guava and simply strained it. That's it. It's kind of thinner than a smoothie, but it has a huge amount of kind of wonderful complexity to be able to drink through. And all you need to do is just give it a little accent on the top. I'm gonna use some fresh mint. A little slap just to open up some of the aromas. And you have a beautiful Agua Fresca. Super simple to be able to do, customize it to your own flavors or whatever is in season, and it's a brilliant drink to be able to have on a hot summer's day. Cheers. Guadalajara is a bustling city, and there's far too many places for us to feature, especially with some of the new openings happening. So if you want to be able to check out some of the great new food and drink spots around the city, pause the video now. I'm coming to the end of my trip around Guadalajara, and there's been so much to see in this bustling modern city. But one of the incredible things is also discovering about this connection to the ancient parts of the civilization here. Some of the history, and really it was the connection to the land that we've heard so much about. So I'm really excited to take these ideas, reflect on them as we head across to Mexico City. It's one of the most vibrant cities in the world, and I can't wait to see how the culture is evolving through this modern lens. I'm in Roma Norte, Mexico City's bohemian heart, where you get a marriage of leafy Parisian-style boulevards alongside street art, indie boutiques, and a world-class bar scene. And speaking of the latter, I'm gonna head out, go experience some of these amazing venues. I'm catching up with one of my best friends and business partner, Alex, who's lived in Mexico City for over 2 years. He'll be my guide for this evening as we're going on a night out.
Yeah. It's Mexican wine.
Awesome.
Natural, like modern, like this is an incredible little spot that like really cares about the wine, you know? And I think it's something worth exploring because Mexican wine is dope, but it isn't shown enough love internationally. Cheers, Bob.
Always a pleasure.
Good to see you, man.
It feels very cool hitting spots like this. This is a gem.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a demonstration of like appreciation for what's good here, but like, there's hustle, man. Like, look at the size of the bar.
Yeah. But I mean, that's kind of like, I think when we've been wandering around this area, it feels like there's people using those like nooks and crannies in really interesting ways.
100%. Like, if there's a will, there's a way. So like young, passionate people everywhere are hustling to do what they want to do. And that's not happening everywhere.
Totally. Mexico City really comes alive at night with so many places to go. From local haunts to some of the world's most acclaimed bars.
Muy bien.
So we are in Tlecān, which is Eli Martínez's temple to not only delicious cocktails, but so many aspects of Mexican culture. It is one of the must visits while you're in town. And there's a very good reason why it's been celebrated as one of the best bars in the world. Is there anything we have to order?
I can recommend you a lot the pulque colada or maybe the mojito. The mojito is made with hoja santa. It's something very traditional.
Cool. Okay, let's do those, yeah.
Okay,
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Not only is it drinks, of course, the late night food scene is equally on par. And this place is one of my favorite grab-and-go taco spots.
Dos chicharrón, dos res, y una gringa, y una norteña, por favor. And you want a little beer?
Yes.
Yeah, y dos chelas, por favor.
I can get scran. It's
Yeah, you're paying. I'm not going to pay for this.
So what do we have as different things here?
This is from the north of Mexico, this kind of style. It's kind of like pork and avocado. This is al pastor. This is definitely like munchy food after like 25 beers.
Yeah.
And then you've got chicharron, like kind of deep fried pork skin and pork belly.
This is incredible.
It's delicious.
It's really good.
Well, these ingredients are just great. Simple, delicious, affordable. Everyone loves them.
Yeah.
It's like a cult here though. Like, you know, loads of pride and protectiveness over like what kind of tacos from the north, from the south.
Got you.
And I love it, like the passion behind it. In contrast to London, you know, we talk about late night food, like, okay, head up Dalston Way, some of the best like kind of Turkish food and stuff. And you can get it late night, sure.
Yeah.
Tell me we can get British food after 10 p.m. Do you know what I mean?
That's a good
This
point.
is from here.
Yeah.
For people from here, and it's like such a source of pride, and it's available the whole time, you know? So, I mean, you're not famous for your tolerance for spice. You know, you come from a Sri Lankan background, which is arguably one of the most intense chili-based cuisines in the world. Please tell me you've progressed whilst being here beyond black pepper.
Well, probably not actually. In terms of my actual tolerance, we're doing a toast of some of the tequila in the fields with Teremana. And they did the, pineapple with some tahini.
Please tell me tahini wasn't a thing that took you out.
Man, I was on fire. I'm on fire.
Agua.
Okay, we can report back that there's been zero progress.
Mexico City is not only one of the biggest cities in the world, it's one of the most vibrant, and there's far too many spots for us to be able to try and cover in the episode. So we've got an extra selection of things for you to be able to check out around town. And if you want to, hit pause right now. Right, I'm now on my way to Salón de Agave, an incredible educational experience which takes you on a tasting journey of agave drinks. I can't wait to learn even more. So, Sophia, Matteo, I've had the pleasure of being able to come to Salón de Agave in the past, and I've been waxing lyrical about this to everybody who's coming through the city. I'm saying this is the must visit when you're coming through. But in your words, how would you describe this as an experience? Because it's an experience, that's for sure.
Always having agave around the table is meant to be fun and enjoyable.
Yeah.
And so we always say, this is an experience more than just an education thing. It's entertainment, woo! But
But it is entirely that. I think the really lovely thing is, it is so much fun, and there is so much to learn with this in terms of kind of understanding agave, and even somebody who's been working with drinks for far too long. I realized I knew like a drop in the ocean in terms of this.
We always say that agave spirits is probably one of the most complicated spirits in the world, but the most underrated too. When people think about mezcal and tequila, most people will think about two regions coming from Mexico, which will be the state of Oaxaca and the state of Jalisco. But Mexico, from its 32 states, 30 produces agave spirits.
Wow.
So basically all of the country, but the richness of agave doesn't travel, stays in those communities. So this is why we try to showcase here in Salón de Agave.
if you think about wine, all the wine that you drink in the world is one species of grape, Vitis vinifera. But with agave, we're looking at upwards of 200 species. And all of that will boil down into how these things taste.
Yeah.
And how every single sip of it is basically years and years and years of history and tradition just boil down into a single drink.
Just before we dive into it, can you tell us a little bit about these?
So these are called veladoras. They're basically candle glasses. They're very much used in Mexico for like churches. Mexico is one of the largest percentage Catholic countries on earth. Yeah. I would say we're the first because the Vatican doesn't count. And because they're such a wide vessel, they became preferred for drinking agave here in Mexico.
Amazing.
There's even a saying that there's a little cross at the bottom, which is hasta ver la cruz, which is drink until you see the cross.
Oh, fun!
So it's like whenever you're gonna shoot something or when you're cheersing something, you can say that as well.
That's lovely. I think for people to dispel some of the kind of preconceptions they might have, you know, the idea that this is going to be smoky from Oaxaca or mezcal is probably one of the ones that you must kind of be able to kind of shift for people the most.
Most of the people that comes into Salón de Agave are not from Mexico. So try to describe a flavor that everyone is coming from very different cultures is very hard.
Yeah.
So this is why sometimes we have to be more creative with our
about how we describe them. Yeah. Usually we start the tasting by saying like, just don't think about smoke. Think about earth.
Yeah.
You're drinking earth. You're drinking 5 to 40 years of maturing in the agave in the soil that it's growing on.
I mean, this is just such the opposite scale. It's so bright. I mean, this is the opposite of smoke. It is
exactly
so delicate and bright.
These people are making such wonderful products because they have knowledge that is just generations and generations in the making. There's like, we've worked with producers, we have bottles in the room that are 11th to 12th generation producers. The same family making the same spirit in the same region with the same agave.
That is insane.
Right?
Wow. Again, working with drinks for over 2 decades, to kind of hear that fact, I'm like, nothing else compares to that. There's few things in the world that have that kind of lineage to it. This is incredible. What an experience.
Muchas
That's
gracias.
wonderful.
Y salud.
Gracias, salud.
These leafy walkways meander past artisanal coffee shops, vintage clothes stores, and incredible bakeries. Speaking of which, Green Rhino is one of the most amazing options in town, headed up by the world's best baker, Richard Hart. We probably can't swear, but that's about it.
Okay. I never swear. What are you talking about?
I mean, Rich, this has always been my favorite thing to come into. Whenever I visit you anywhere is when you're kind of like rolling the dough. I think this is like one of the most lovely things to watch.
Yeah.
Also, I want this as a bed. Like, it looks so comfy. So, tell me what you're doing here, sorry.
So this bread is like a tiger bread. And I guess in England, it would be very similar to what we would know of as a bloomer.
Yeah.
Except for it's not made shitty.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I'm not allowed to say that.
We're good. Coming to Mexico City, this is such a vibrant and exciting place. Was there something that really excited you about being
all
here?
the fruits are really exciting.
Yeah.
There's lots of things that I was not used to using or even had ever played with here in Mexico.
So that was kind of like a new learning as well, coming here.
I mean, I've always been obsessed with like, how am I going to fuck you up a bit, you know? So, 2 swear words, that's it, okay?
So all around the world, there's obviously like people, baking is at the heart of pretty much every culture, right? Like what did you find coming to kind of Mexico City and seeing some of the scene here?
What I noticed when I got to Mexico City is the food scene here is fucking on number 3, sorry. The food scene is on fire.
Yeah.
Food scene's on fire. Like, there's young people in garages making incredible food, and there's a lot of opportunity here for people to really do something special. And I mean, when I moved to Copenhagen to open Heart Bakery, well, Copenhagen was again on fire. And I feel like Mexico is that next thing, you know, like, and
the
it's a
energy
very
around
exciting time to be here.
100%. So I've got a veritable feast here, but I promise this is not just for me. This is going to be shared with the crew. But this is really, and I don't really know how else to like sum this up, then this is a little slice of perfection. Being able to have, you know, beautiful tea and coffee with the most perfect baked goods. So we have a guayaba folded bun, and we have a take on a Garibaldi with some of the, you know, summer strawberries on the top, using local ingredients, marrying them with things that have been sourced with such care from around the world. And I'm gonna crack this one open for you all to see. This honey bun filled with this incredible honey cream. There's no other way of describing this than perfect. Not only do you get to kind of enjoy your time with whoever you're catching up with or alone in your thoughts, you get to watch the team at play. And there is such kind of energy going on everywhere you look around the bakery. You can look over, down, on top of everyone, and they're just at the top of the game. And, you know, you see them being able to kind of do these simple, dexterous moves. And you watch them at work, and it looks so simple. But as soon as you try it, you realize how incredible it is. Like watching the Jimadores using the koa to kind of shave the piña. It looks like something that's simple you could do at home. And then you realize how much expertise and craft goes into these little movements. And it's really beautiful to watch. I'm just outside the city center to visit somewhere that is truly a once-in-a-lifetime experience. Just outside the center of Mexico City lies Xochimilco, a UNESCO World Heritage Site known for its Chinampas, a special place where farmers are creating some of the world's leading produce.
Yo soy Noé Coquis, nativo de aquí de Xochimilco. Sí, mi familia siempre hemos sido agricultores, ya soy 4ª generación. Somos varias familias las que nos dedicamos todavía a cultivar con nuestras técnicas ancestrales que nos dejaron.
And what does it mean to you kind of being, you know, working in this area for generations, working with the land?
Para mí es mi vida. Desde que era yo niño, mi padre y mi abuelo me involucraron en el cultivo y tengo un amor por las chinampas, por la tierra, y más que nada seguir conservando toda esa tradición, todo ese legado que nos dejaron nuestros antepasados y no dejar que se pierda la agricultura en Xochimilco, ya que nuestras chinampas pues es una tierra que alcanzamos 4 cosechas al año que no en ningún lugar del mundo lo hay.
And is there something that you find particularly special about the area of Xochimilco that sets it up so great for farming?
Que Xochimilco es una parte fundamental en la Ciudad de México porque regula la temperatura, porque hace captación del CO2. Yo creo que es el suelo. El suelo es muy rico en nutrientes, lo que tenemos aquí. La tradición y el amor, más que nada el amor que le tenemos a la tierra, ese amor que nos transmiten nuestros antepasados y que en mi caso se lo estoy transmitiendo a mi hijo. Tengo un hijo de 10 años que ya forma parte de mi proyecto de vida, de la cultura que nos dejaron mis abuelos y seguir conservando nuestras chinampas. Creo que eso es lo que hace que Xochimilco sea diferente y especial en cuestiones del suelo y de las hortalizas que sembramos acá.
I've now arrived at Arca Tierra, a regenerative farm collective. The co-founder Pablo is going to show me around.
It changed my life, especially being here in the Chinampas. It's a mind-blowing experience.
I mean, it really is life-changing. And like, there's so many wonderful things everywhere you look. And it's a very special system of growing here, right?
It's mainly diversity, you know?
Yeah.
It's like replicating what nature teaches us. And once you do that, you create this system. Like you can see this insects, you know, there's butterflies, there's life, it feels. We hear a lot about how we damage everything, how we're like a plague, how we're a poison to the earth, and that's not true, you know? Like humans, we are part of nature, first and foremost. And second, our job is to guide it, to make it more complex, to make it more beautiful, and along the way, we produce food, you know?
Absolutely. And I really do think that that's such a wonderful message of positivity for us to all take in, you know? It's not all doom and gloom, even though we're told it's like all damaging. And, you know, we can be positive parts of the system, and, you know, this is beautiful evidence of it. So you might have had the opportunity to kind of pick fruit right off the vine, and there is something so magical about something that's been sun-ripened. But actually, one of the best things you'll taste is when you get the opportunity to literally pull something out the earth. In this case, beetroots. And these are incredible. These are not gonna be like your run-of-the-mill kind of supermarket beetroots. You've just got all of the kind of marriage of concentrating all of those sugars, all the sun kind of packing it full of that kind of sweetness with all the minerality from the earth. And it really is teeming with flavor. And what's teeming in flavor is really good for you. It's good for the earth, it's good for you, and it's gonna be a perfect ingredient for the cocktail I'm making at the end of the show. This is produce at its best. Arca Tierra supplies some of the best restaurants in Mexico City with its world-class produce. One of the restaurants is the Green Michelin-starred Baldío, who are today preparing some dishes for us using Arca Tierra ingredients. So not only is it this beautiful kind of embrace of wonderful produce that tastes unbelievable, you have this incredible zero waste approach, ingredients picked fresh, grilled, and served all together. And there is so much prettiness on the plate here. I mean, I'm gonna have to dive into one of these tacos. And this is beautiful. Everything tastes so alive. There's so much flavor packed into things. I mean, it's a fairly simple combination. You've got the herbal notes, you've got the accent of some of the citrus brightness, you've got the richness of the pork and the nuttiness of the corn, but it's like everything in like 4D. Like everything gets amplified because the quality of the ingredients is just incredible. And we can demonstrate that this doesn't need to come with waste. And actually, that's never going to be a sacrifice. Having a conscientious approach doesn't mean that you're going to lose out on flavor. These are singing with flavor as dishes. They're beautiful, they're considered, and they're just truly excellent. I'm coming to the end of my trip around Mexico, and it's been truly magical. There's such a richness here. It really is such a beautiful country. There is so much to see, there's so much to taste, but there is really so much to learn from the deep-rooted aspects of connecting the ancient side of the culture through to the modern day and thinking about how that projects into the future. It's been wonderful to be able to spend time here, but it's been really humbling to learn about all of the incredible different perspectives, and it's really going to shape how I think about agriculture and flavor going forwards. So I'm really excited to try and summarize all of the different ideas that we've seen, but really this idea of togetherness. We toured around both in Guadalajara and Mexico City, and you saw people sharing in every space we went. You saw celebrations, you saw music, you saw color, and everything had this wonderful aspect of putting people at the heart of everything. I'm really excited to try and pull this together into a cocktail that helps people gather, but also talks to all of this incredible philosophy that is central to Mexican culture. Trying to summarize all of the wonderful things that we saw and learned across Mexico is no easy task. But there was a couple of things that were common threads through all of the things that we managed to see. And really, it was this connection and this deep understanding of the traditions and the way that they understood the land and the landscape to be able to look to the future and understand how it can roll with all of the things that are evolving around it. One of the wonderful things that was throughout our travels was the fact that tequila featured alongside all of the gatherings. It was there for moments of toasts, it was there for alongside dinners, it was a wonderful moment of pause and reflection at the end of the day. So being able to put the tequila into something that can really sit alongside food felt really appropriate. So I'm doing a little bit of a twist on a Negroni, but instead of going with, that classic formula, I really want to pull the Teremana Reposado to the forefront. So to play to that, we've made a vermouth. So we picked up some beautiful local Mexican wine when we visited the team at Fantasma. And we've folded into that a couple of different accents. Some of the bits that we picked up from the market with Alejandra, it's a lovely kind of unrefined sugar. We have a little bit of chile and some kind of dried oregano, again, classic to the Mexican cuisine, alongside some of the cacao pods that were, again, locally grown, super aromatic. But being here at Arca Tierra, there was also a couple of other things as brighter aromatics to play alongside. So we picked up a couple of fennel flowers, some fennel fronds, but the beetroots were the one that felt most appropriate. Really born of the earth, sweet, aromatic, really fruity. Now what we've done is essentially cook these down together, made a little bit of a syrup out of the kind of unrefined sugar, the chili, the beetroot, and some of these aromatics. And then we've married that with the local wine. And then just fortified that a touch with some brandy. It gives us something that works as a vermouth base, but it really celebrates what's within the tequila. So we're gonna use 25 mils of our vermouth. And then in a classic formula, we're gonna use a little touch of some bitter aperitivo. It brings a kind of bitter orange note as the background, but we don't need as much as in the classic recipe. So we're gonna use 20 mils. But the heart of it is gonna be our Teremana Reposado. So we're gonna use 30 mils to be a bit more at the forefront than the classic equal parts of a Negroni. And we're gonna serve this in a rocks glass. So I wanna get lots of ice into my glass because you want there to be a journey to this. You want it to unfold, but you want to be able to have time with this as you enjoy it. So a quick stir over ice, but we don't need to dilute it too much. And because we had such incredible produce here at Arca Tierra, we're gonna use some of these as an aromatic accent on the top. We have some of our bull's blood beetroot, some beautiful fennel flowers that we've picked. So the idea with the Mana Negroni was to celebrate all of the incredible produce, all of the amazing ideas and philosophies we discovered across Mexico. And it really was this idea of the mana that was so important, this care about doing good. And that was folded into everybody's practice. There was so much care and consideration around the traditions, the connection to the land, and the way that the culture kind of really preserved these things. It really takes us on an incredible journey for something that hopefully talks to the incredible things that are part of the culture here. Salud.
¡Viva México, sí, señor!
Looking all fresh.
Hola. Hola.
Rico, rico.
Coffee burp? No, we're good.
We've already started seeing some agave growing out in the fields.
We've eaten some Doritos.
Oh, no, this is freaking me out.
So you chop with the chopping board?
No! Why won't you let me show the crew?